1 week for Iran to make a deal or their fate is sealed. President Trump warning the regime leaders he hasn't smoked, that he is ready to blow them to smithereens if they don't wise up.
But we've had regime change, if you look already, because the one regime was decimated, destroyed, they're all dead. The next regime is mostly dead. And the third regime, we're dealing with different people than anybody's dealt with before. It's a whole different group of people.
State regime media, which calls itself Fox News, was in a full collapse on live TV as Donald Trump's catastrophic war in Iran continues to spiral out of control and bring down his presidency. In the latest UMass Amherst UGV poll, Donald Trump's approval was only 33%, the lowest in presidential history. So Fox propagandists like Laura Ingraham are trying to cope and come up with excuses for the collapse of Donald Trump's presidency, when they did everything in their power, used all their propaganda tricks to try to prop it up.
It's always funny to see MAGA Fox hosts and MAGA pundits who know that Donald Trump is screwing up or that he's in over his head juggle these competing interests, the cultish devotion to Trump personally, where you can't question him directly, while also trying to nudge and guide him on a more productive path. As Mediaite reports, Fox News' Laura Ingraham questions whether Trump understood the complexity of Iran operation. Fox News' Laura Ingraham questioned whether Donald Trump understood the complexity of the military operation he launched against Iran during her open monologue.
So last night, Laura Ingraham was like, we have a lot of questions we need to ask. Like, who were the people who were giving Donald Trump this information before we invaded Iran? Who gave Donald Trump the briefings? Or did they brief him at all? So Laura Ingraham trying to shift the blame to what? People like Pete Hegseth and people like who? The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and others, but not your dear Donald. When, of course, this is Donald Trump and Netanyahu's disastrous war in Iran. Here's what Laura Ingraham was saying last night. Let's play this clip.
We still have a lot of questions. For instance, was the president fully briefed about the risks of all of this from the beginning? And was he then able to take it all in and understand the complexity of this, how complex it could actually get, and further possibilities of casualties or other damage, the difficulty of dealing with these people?
And folks, her cope fest continued. Laura Ingraham was also saying, but didn't we, not want regime change? Wasn't Donald Trump's whole pitch, no more Middle East wars? And wasn't that what he was telling the voters? She's like, I'd like regime change. It would be lovely. But we're kind of stuck in the Strait of Moose. It would be lovely. What kind of deranged things are they saying? But watch what she says here. Here, play this clip.
Well, for sure, Congressman, but you just threw in regime change, like gave President, that would be phenomenal, obviously, it would be great. But we don't even have the strait fully open yet for safe passage of all these tankers. So, that wasn't what the American people thought they were getting with President Trump when they elect him, was someone who wanted regime change in Iran. We wanted to eliminate them as a threat. And I think the administration itself has said that regime change fairly consistently, although it would be great, is not their goal.
And then Laura Ingraham had this guest on IO, and they both started mocking Lindsey Graham, one of the architects with Donald Trump of this disastrous war in Iran. That's how they're coping as well. Lindsey Graham, one of the people that Laura Ingraham was clearly referencing in the earlier clips that I showed you. And Lindsey Graham was spending the past 48 hours in Disney World. And he had this bubble gun that, by the way, my little daughter loves, while he was at Disney World. And he was waving it around at Magic Kingdom. And Laura Ingraham and her guest, a royal, were like, yeah, that's kind of weird. And they refer to Lindsey Graham as single and childless Senator Lindsey Graham dropped into Magic Kingdom to play with his pink bubble gun. That's how they're referring to it on state regime media here. Play this clip right here.
Single and childless South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham dropped into the Magic Kingdom in Orlando, Laura. He claims he was doing business in Florida, a lot of it at Chef Mickey's at the Contemporary Resort. You can see Mickey in the background. And then he was later seen walking through Fantasyland with a pink bubble gun. What is Lindsey doing?
And then Laura Ingraham is talking to this guest, MAGA Republican Congressmember Pat Fallon, and she's like, all right, could we recognize that Iran is not Venezuela? You see the struggle as Fox is like, oh, we're not going to be able to defend this. We're not going to be able to defend this. Here, play this clip.
So I honestly do not see, frankly, Laura, an end to this unless we absolutely break they're back, and that's going to involve at least American special operators on the ground, allies in the region, the Kurds in the north, and then the Iranian people to rise up, because 80% of them hate this regime.
And more from Laura Ingraham right here, as she was basically saying, well, looks like this war is kind of escalating. And Donald Trump says he's going to attack the what? The electrical grids, desalination facilities. We may be sending in special forces, and we're going to try to take over Carr Island. Okay, we've got a lot of questions. Some more questions we got to ask. Watch Laura Ingraham right here. Let's play this clip.
So if we cannot come to some type of peace deal with people who can't be trusted, then what? Well, looks like the U.S. is going to escalate. President Trump is already warning of widespread further damage, threatening to hit electric generating plants, oil wells, and Carr Island, as he's reportedly considering sending ground troops in to secure the uranium.
All right. And then she brings out her superstar guest. Laura Ingraham brings out Laura Trump. And Laura Trump's like, all right, we're fighting for freedom right here. That's what this is all about. Like when the United States is bombing elementary schools in Iran and killing 165 little girls. Or on the first day, we also bombed a gym and killed dozens of little children. Or when we're bombing Tehran University. Or when Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth say we loiter over Iran and bring death. And we destroy electrical grids and desalination water facilities. And we go after all of your steel plants. We are protecting freedom. Clearly, this is about freedom. That's what they're going with. That those are the tropes that they're throwing out there, that this is about freedom. Oh, okay, sure. And more Fox collapsing on live TV. You have, Greg Gutfeld and one of the other Fox hosts, they're saying, look, we know that Donald Trump's poll numbers are very low, but he doesn't care about poll numbers. So this is what Fox was saying. What's actually really refreshing is to have a president who doesn't focus on the numbers, who just cares about doing the right thing. To which Jessica, who's so great, Jessica Tarlow on Fox, she's like, what are you talking about? This is the guy who says any number that he doesn't like is fake. Like, what world are you living in here? And play this clip. And he's the only politician we've ever had who is always willing to spend political capital on something other than just getting himself reelected. Yeah, it's a complete opposite of how he's painted as this narcissist who's worried about his poll numbers, when in fact, all he's trying to do is build capital so he can spend it, not worried about his poll numbers. He says everything is fair. He does like good poll numbers, yeah, but when they're down, when they're low, he's like, whatever, doesn't bother him. Then they needed the pivot, right? Okay, Trump's screwing this up. Massive No Kings protest. 8 to 9 million peaceful protesters. What do we do? Let's attack No Kings. Let's just say it was a failure, and let's mock it. So Laura Ingraham is like, the Democrat Party has no policies. It's about retribution. Watch how stupid this No Kings protest is. As our editor-in-chief, Ron Filipowski, writes, except the last 4 years, Republican politicians have continued to try to take credit for projects funded by the Democrats in their district. Then they have to go to their safe place, right? What's their safe place? Their safe place is to be like, you know what? These people protesting Trump, they've got Trump derangement syndrome, okay? They've got TDS. They're the frauds. The Trump supporters are the ones that insist on free and fair elections. We don't want those illegal immigrants voting. Let's just say illegal immigrants, over and over. Illegal immigrants. Illegal immigrants. What should we throw in there? Trans. Yeah. Illegal immigrants, trans. Illegal immigrants, trans. Bathrooms. Bathrooms, athletes. Male, women. Athletes, penis, B. Okay, enough of this crap. People are being psychologically tortured in our country if they're fortunate enough to get paychecks. They're living paycheck to paycheck. They can't afford rent right now. People's healthcare has been ripped away. We've got these massive data centers sucking out energy. We've got AI replacing people's jobs here. We got people unable to access education, unable to access the most basic benefits. Again, people are out there just dying right now in the United States. We're sending our soldiers out to war. Why? Because Trump's chasing Netanyahu into the Middle East. We don't know what the hell we're doing there, other than engaged in crimes against humanity generally in the region. What the hell is going on? And you're out there doing this illegal immigrants can't vote. Ingram, we got ICE and Border Patrol, Gestapo torturing, killing people here in our streets. The hell's going on? And then, again, as this all unravels, you see the unraveling, right? Jesse Waters, one of Fox propagandists, he's like, Gavin Newsom crosses his legs, right? Gavin Newsom is like a woman. He's like a woman the way he crosses his legs. Dude, what are you talking? There are so many real serious issues that the American people are confronting right now. I didn't mention before the MAGA Republicans covering up child sex trafficking rings. How about that? Here, play this clip. Gavin is, how do I say this? He's kind of like a woman trapped in a man's body. I mean, you could probably convince the base that Gavin is a woman. He changes his mind a lot. He's always in the mirror. He's always crying. He's crossing his legs constantly. I think they could buy that. By the way, even though this isn't a Fox clip, even James Comer yesterday on CNN, you know James Comer, the head of the House Oversight Committee, even he admitted that Trump's DOJ screwed up the Epstein investigation. I know it's not a Fox clip, but I want to show it to you here. Play this clip. We've already deposed several of them, and I'll name a name right now. Lex Wexner. We deposed him for several hours. That was a bipartisan deposition. The Democrats and Republicans both grilled our staff attorneys, who were professional deposers, grilled Mr. Wexner, and we've released those videos. And, he either couldn't recall or claimed he wasn't that close with Epstein. That's counter to what everything in the documents would suggest. But because these crimes were committed decades ago, because the federal government did a terrible job putting together hardly any evidence to prosecute Epstein, it's very difficult to prove whether or not Mr. Wexner was telling the truth or not. More from Jesse Waters here, whining and complaining and saying, you know what, it's the Democrats. When they lose elections, they have panic attacks. It's always a crisis when they are not in power. Here, play this clip. And anytime they lose an election, they have a panic attack. It's always a crisis when they are not in power. Every time Trump beats them, democracy is under assault. Come on. Hillary accused him of stealing the election in 2016. And then finally, Jesse says, don't worry, we're still going to seize Carr Island soon. I know I promised my viewers we would seize Carr Island. We're doing it soon. Watch Jesse here. Play this clip. The other thing, we've all talked about seizing Carr and seizing the Strait, which you said was supposed to happen. He did the same method. I'm going to mess with the markets before the open, which the Iranians predicted. Then you bet happen pretty soon. I bet you it's going to happen pretty soon. One way or the other, it's going to be open. So they're going to have to go in, and then they're going to have to hold that territory. You're right, though. I mean, the Iranians do have thousands of drones still. They still have 100 of missiles, and those can sometimes get through air defenses, although the air defenses have been 90% effective. Zelensky is going to backfill some of those defensive systems. That's great. But here's the deal. Once you take Kharkiv, it takes their queen off the chessboard, and then you can really negotiate from a much stronger position. The next 2 weeks will probably see the most dangerous and decisive action of the war so far, and I can just pray it goes well. I think I can speak for myself that I pray it goes well. There you have it, folks. I told you they were in full collapse mode. I told you. Hit subscribe, help us get to 10,000 subscribers. Thank you all so much for watching.